I really do not want to speak that much about this episode because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the episode where we make it to the end of Crossbone Isle and we fight the hardest boss in the entire game. Period. But we will do it anyway, as we're gonna man through it like men. Hey everybody, it's Double RPG here, and welcome back to another episode of Double RPG Let's Play with Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance. In today's episode, we're going to finish up Crossbone Isle by going through floors 9 and the bottom of the place, which you will see what it is once we get there, and we will fight off against the hardest boss that this game has to offer. Alright, let's go ahead and get on with this episode that's already in progress, shall we? And as you can tell, we already made it to the 9th floor basement. And the boss that we're fighting against just right before the door is a couple of Cerberuses. Or just a couple of Cerberuses. And yes, these guys are pretty tough. So I would recommend that you pretty much have your, you pretty much use your gene when you're in this battle. Because these guys, they do take a lot of damage and such. And they would really make things harder for you to try to beat them silly. Okay, so let's go ahead and focus on finishing these guys off, and we will continue to traverse in floor 9. And this will take a while, just take a little while, because these guys still have a lot of hit points, but, since they're sub-bosses, we still can defeat them in less time. But, I guess these guys are a precursor before we fight off against the hardest boss in the entire game, and by golly, I do not want to talk about it a whole lot, but, we'll get through it. So, how's everybody doing on this Thursday? Hope you all are doing great. I did pick up a copy of Tales of the Abyss 3D for my 3DS yesterday, so I do look forward to playing that, and I'm going to be seeing how much better it is than the PS2 version, because I've heard that the 3DS version of the game, it fixes up all the load times that people had problem with in the original PS2 version. But other than that, I really don't think anything else has changed that much from the original game. So, but I'll have to see how it plays. Hopefully they fix the whole thing with the grinding, because I did have a problem with the original version where it was kind of hard to grind. But then again, when I was playing the original version, I made sure that I grinded my characters a whole lot before I traversed through any of the dungeons and labyrinths, so that way everybody will be strong enough to fight off against the harder bosses. And my efforts did certainly pay off, and I'm really proud of that. Okay, and these guys are still not dead yet? Oh, come on. But at least somebody's synergy is blocked, so at least we have a little leeway in taking down one of these guys. I didn't even use one? Okay, I see what I did there. So, yeah, I got Tales of the Abyss 3D, which means that this is my way of saying that we are in big preparation for the game Tales of Graces F, which should be hitting in-store shelves in the US next month, which is March. So, and I heard or I saw on GameStop's website that it's one of the most anticipated games coming out pretty quickly, and that's really saying something right there. With that game being really anticipated for the audience and for the general public, or for the public in general, that means that there is still a very strong following for the Tales games in North America. So that's really good to know. And I'm very glad to say that it looks like that the Xillian movement really has done a great job in trying to convince people, not only them, but for those who have also joined United for Tales or whatever. So yeah, I guess our efforts to get people notified about Tales of Graces F, it really did pay off a whole lot. And trust me, I still want Tales of Xillia to make it over to the West. Because, I kind of said that the fan demand was strong enough, and I think that sales really do matter if we're going to want to get Tales of Xillia to become a reality in the West, and Tales of Graces F has to sell well in both North America and Europe. So I think Tales of Graces F is definitely going to be a testament to see if there still is a very strong following for the series in North America. And to be honest, I think Namco Bandai is actually, even though they haven't really done that much marketing for the Tales series, but I still see them do marketing for, or posting some videos about the new level 5 game, which is Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, which is coming out in the West for the PS3 and being published by Namco Bandai Games. So yeah, I think Namco Bandai is really pulling themselves out of the mud and trying to become one of the top 5 publishers in the industry, and they really have worked their butts off to try to get this far, but I still think that they have a long way to go if they want to try to make amends with their fans and such. But there are still some things that kind of sadden me, like, what do you call it? The whole thing with, what was the name of that one game? The whole thing with, my god, what do you call it? I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, with the poor sales of the Splatterhouse reboot? Yeah, it doesn't really make me a happy camper right there, because I was really hoping that the game would actually do really well in the West, but the thing is that it got shafted by reviewers, and that really sucked. And that was not very cool. Not very cool at all. And I really like the Splatterhouse reboot game, but it sucked that reviewers had to, you know, they had to become total arrogant jerks and just bash the game for what it is. And it really made things a lot more worse than that. So, if they want to really do well, then I think Namco Bandai is going to have to do a whole lot to make sure that Tales of Grace SF really sells well in the West. And I hope that Tales of the Abyss 3D really sells well in the United States as well. And I hope it did sell well in Europe, because I know a lot of people were looking forward to that game since they never got their hands on it the first time around. So, yeah. And I think with the whole thing with Ni no Kuni releasing for the PS3 in Europe and North America, it truly will become a testament to see how, if there's still a strong following for that series. Or, not for that series, but for the whole games in general, I think. Or for the Tales games, or whatever. But yeah. Gonna see how well that goes. Okay, enough of my talk about the Tales games. Let's go ahead and continuously focus on what is going on here, so that way we can try to grab that treasure chest. And I think that's another weapon that's over here. Let's check. Yes, it is. It's the Muramasa. And the Muramasa is another cursed weapon, so I don't think it's the strongest for Garrett, so we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, we got the Muramasa blade. And it's not the Demon Blade like in Muramasa the Demon Blade. It's actually just called Muramasa. Okay, we pushed that log over. Now we're heading downstairs. And we finally made it to the bottom of Crossbone Isle. And when we come in here, there's a wrecked ship right over here. Now before we go fight the boss, there is a mimic right here that we can defeat. And I think it's going to become quite a challenge to take down... Well, it's not really a challenge to take down this boss, but I think it's going to be a challenge to try to prepare ourselves before we have to go through the boss fight. But, you know, we'll just have to see how things go along from here. Okay, it's using spark plasma on us, and I think that's one of the things that the upcoming boss that we're going to be fighting against is going to be using a whole lot. There's a plethora of abilities that this boss uses, and it's going to be a reason why you're going to be scared out of your pants while you're fighting against this guy. And you shall see why once as we get to it. Of course, when you take a look at the stats, that is. But, yeah, it's just not really looking forward to fighting against this guy. Why do I have to fight him? But then again, I made that commitment to fight off against him, so that way we can go through this game as a whole. Okay. You know what? Okay. I'm just trying to heal everybody's PP... Or, I just said PP, didn't I? I'm trying to heal everybody's synergy points. But, you know what? I think Mia is okay. We actually want to go over here. And yes, folks, here we are. Here is the strongest boss and the most deadliest in the entire game. This is Deadbeard. And as you can tell from its stats, it has 6,000 hit points, it's got 468 attack, and really strong defense, agility, and luck. So yeah, feast your eyes on the strongest, hardest, and most deadliest boss in the entire game. Deadbeard is no joke. And to make things even worse, this guy can attack twice per turn. So you're going to want to make sure that you make your stats go all the way up. But that's really not going to help out a whole lot either, because there is one thing that this guy is going to do to make things worse, and you shall see what that is once as we continuously go on with this game, or with this whole battle. Now, aside from attacking us normally, one of the things that it can actually do if we try to raise our attack and defense is that it will use this ability called Break, and it will return our strength and defenses to normal. And that really doesn't help matters at all. I mean, when you have 6,000 hit points when fighting off against this guy, when he has abilities like that, and he can use Impact and Ward to increase his strength and his elemental defenses, and even his regular defenses in general, yeah, it doesn't really help things a whole lot, now does it? And plus, the Freeze Prism that he also uses, it's a pretty strong and deadly attack. So, when you're at this level with your characters, believe me, you're going to be suffering some really bad pain from this guy. And there is going to be death in your party members for sure. So make sure you have plenty of water lives, and make sure that you constantly heal your party members, and to make sure that they do not try anything to lose the whole battle. But trust me, I don't think that's going to be a problem. As long as you have Granite and Flash in your set for both Isaac and Garrett, and if you use Ground that Isaac has, then you should be able to delay the enemy's attacks by at least one turn. Now let's go ahead and see if we can try to steal this foe's synergy, so that way we can try to have it not use the ability whatsoever. And let's go ahead and use Vine, and we'll drop Deadbeard's agility by 90 points at least. But yeah, this guy's no joke. He has really strong attacks, and he has really strong synergy abilities and all that other fun stuff. So this makes this battle not a walk in the park whatsoever. And normally I wouldn't say this, but make sure that you have Mia healing your party members at all times, because even though you can use your gene in this battle, you know, your Mercury gene, it's not going to be the best in your ability to even use them in case if you're going to summon them. I would recommend that you constantly use her to heal your party members when you're fighting off against this boss. This boss, like I said, this boss is no joke. And I'm literally fretting myself for fighting off against it. As you can tell, its strength and its defenses and its agility and luck are just out of this world. It even puts the final boss to shame in terms of strength. It's really that deadly. Oh god. I'm really not looking forward to this. See if we can try to heal everybody. But I'm not sure if that's going to help out a whole lot. Probably won't, but we'll have to see how it does. And if you want, you can try to heal everybody's hit points, or you can try to use some sort of strength or defense increase. But again, Deadbeard is going to be using Break on you, and he's going to return all your strength and defenses to normal. So it's kind of like, what's the point in even using something like that anyway? Oh god, that Freeze Prism is just evil! I hope he doesn't even use it again. He probably will. Oh no, he actually uses Ward, so we should be able to heal our party members again. But continuously use Granite and Flash on your party members to try to save them from death from this enemy. Because any screw up, it's going to be entirely your fault. But there is something that I actually found out about Deadbeard that I think you might want to know about, that I actually did a little research on thanks to the Wikia page of Golden Sun. Now, Deadbeard. Deadbeard, from what I know, is actually based on the Deadbeard is actually based on the Greek, is actually based from Greek mythology, and he's actually based on the Greek god named Talos. And from what I know, Talos is actually, what do you call it? Oh god, are we gonna make it? I hope we do. Talos is actually based on the Greek god who wears bronze armor, and he pretty much sunk a ship that had Crete in it by using boulders and rocks. At least that's from what I know, but it could be different. But I'll have to see. Okay, you may think that I'm not going to be able to make it through this, but oh god, I hope I do. Because if we're really stuck in a stalemate here, then we're not going to be able to get out of this alive. But yeah, Deadbeard is actually based on Talos, the Greek god, if I can find the cultural influence or whatever. Yeah, or cultural illusion. So yeah, it says that the name Talos comes from a figure from Greek mythology. Well, it may not be a god, but it is definitely a figure. And it was a giant bronze-sized man or god, so it actually could have been a titan or whatever. And Talos actually sunk ships approaching Crete by tossing rocks at them. So yeah, I guess Crete is actually a place, or actually a person, but apparently this figure in Greek mythology, who was a giant bronze man or a god, well, actually it might have been a god or whatever it was, and it can sink ships. So evidently, when you take a look at Deadbeard, it kind of matches the description based on that cultural illusion. So yeah, a little interesting tidbit about Deadbeard that may actually be a part of this game. It's kind of interesting when you think about it. Okay, so everybody has been revived. I hope we can keep it that way, but it's kind of hard to say based on what Talos is doing to us. So yeah, Talos has a plethora of abilities on him. Aside from attacking and using freeze prisms, it has Inferno, it has Spark Plasma, and it just has so many other things that it literally just makes you feel like you are going to be fully pwned by this guy. But don't worry, we will plow through with this. As long as you're over level 30, then at least there's a good chance you can defeat this boss. And besides, since we've been on this battle for about 8 minutes, we should be getting close to defeating it. And then after we defeat the boss, then we should be able to get the strongest armor for Garrett in this game, which is the Demon Mail. Because after we defeat this boss, we actually do get access to that treasure chest. Kind of like when we fight off against the Hydro statue to get access to that one ability, which I think was the Douse Drop, I take it? Or was it... Oh, no. It was the Lift Gem. That's what it was. Okay, so let's use ground on it to try to stop it in its tracks. And I think if we use Isaac's summon one more time, then we should be able to put Deadbeard in its place. But be careful, because you're still not invulnerable to his attacks and such. And with him constantly raising his attacks, it doesn't make things any better. Okay, let's see if we can try to attack with Nature's Venom. And we gotta see if we can try to... you know what? I'm gonna risk it. And continuously heal us with Wishwell. So that way everybody can stay alive. And evidently, the poison did not do its... Oh, God. Mia's down for the count. And nobody has a Water of Life on them, I think. Oh, he took Ivan down, too! Isaac? Yep, we don't even have it for Isaac. So, Isaac, Judgment is... It's all up to you to use Judgment here. You're the only one who can do this. Okay! Finally, we have defeated the monstrous... What do you call it? The monstrous Deadbeard. And believe it or not, I was actually under level 30 when I did this. So, looks like we actually managed to get through this under level 30. But I would recommend fighting off against that boss at least when you're over level 30. So what I did was completely risky, but for the most part, we actually made it through. So, yeah, gosh, I am finally done with that boss. Deadbeard, go to hell! That's all I have to say to you! Okay, so... Anyway... And that was actually some pretty cool music when we were fighting off against Deadbeard, so... Yeah, that was awesome. Okay, so the Muramasa wasn't a curse blade, so that was my mistake. Okay, gamers, since we have finally taken care of Deadbeard, and since we have finally finished up Crossbone Isle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to end things off here. So, next time on Double RPG Let's Play with Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance, we are going to get down to the finale of this game, where we're going to go to the top of the Venus Lighthouse to see if we can try to stop Saturos and Minardi once and for all. Now, the finale, from what I know, is actually going to be a 2-part episode. So, the first part is the next episode in which you're going to see. So, yes, we are greatly approaching the end of this Let's Play. And I think I will do a bonus video after that where we fight off against the Tempest Lizard. But we'll have to see. Probably will, but, you know, who knows. Alright, gamers. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves, and I shall see you tomorrow for the first part of the finale of Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance and Double RPG Let's Play. This is Double RPG signing off, and I'll see you guys then.